Welcome back to Brownsburg High School. Time for game number 2 of the day here at the Sneakers for Santa Boys basketball event, and we got a good one. A couple of undefeated teams. Gary 21st Century from the northern part of Indiana taking on the Warriors of Tuscola from Illinois. Rob Connett, Jan Bozier, and the rest of the ISE crew with you back here inside Brownsburg High School. Jan, we had a great start to the morning. Brownsburg beating Plainfield 44-43. And now we got a couple of teams, both undefeated, trying to move to 3-0 on the season.
Well, obviously, Gary 21st Century up north and Tuscola in Illinois. While we have some things we know about them, there's still a lot we don't know about them. So as we progress during this game, I'm taking a wild guess we're going to find out a whole lot about them. This we do know. Gary 21st Century is a big team. They have some tall kids, and they have some really good players. Now, Tuscola has not quite the height, but we do know this. They're 2-0. We do know they get after it. So that's what we do know, and as we find out more, we'll tell it to you.
We do know that guy right there, Jalen Quinn for Tuscola, received 15 Division I offers, and he has decided to go to Loyola Chicago. We're going to be calling his name a lot for Tuscola, averaging 24 points per game and 8 rebounds for the Warriors, a Class 1A school from Tuscola, Illinois, just south of Bloomington.
Well, you don't get offers unless Division I unless you're pretty good. You don't get one offer, nevertheless get that many offers. So we'll certainly keep our eye on him. He'll be a big key today for the Warriors.
Led by head coach Justin Bozarth. For Gary 21st Century, 2-0. They got a lot of guys. Like you mentioned, Jan, the height that they have is impressive, and what's even more impressive are some of the numbers. Ashton Williamson averaging 21 points per game. 2 more guys averaging double-doubles. Quentin Floyd, 17 points and 15 rebounds per game. DJ Moss averaging 14 and 11. We're underway. Game 2 of today's Sneakers for Santa event here at Brownsburg High School. And Tuscola will start with the first possession. Again, Jalen Quinn, first team All-State the last couple of years in the state of Illinois, rated as one of the top 10 players in the state of Illinois. 15 D1 offers, and that one gets it to go. That is what he can do.
Yes, sir. Good paint penetration, laid it up off the rim.
It's going to be a fun one, we can tell, between these two schools. Quentin Floyd, along with Roy Cast, DJ Moss. Some of the names we'll be calling a lot for Gary 21st Century. The Cougars are 2-0. They beat Bowman Academy last night. Tuscola also 2-0 on the season. Driving to the hoop, Jalen Quinn, high off the glass, no good. Rebound for Quentin Floyd. He averages 15 of those per game, second most in the state of Indiana.
The big guy.
That's Eric Price laying it in.
Yes, sir. He gets it down that deep. Not much you're going to do. You don't want to just foul him and put him to the free throw line. So if you don't deny, you might as well just let him go. Tuscola. 107 miles from Brownsburg, by the way. I just looked it up.
Straight shot, though, on the interstate.
Actually, I think that's closer than Gary 21st Century.
Yeah, both these teams had to make a drive. Jalen Quinn is fouled, and he hits the deck pretty hard. He'll be helped up by his teammates.
One thing for sure, that young man can elevate quickly. Take a look at the baseline drive. Now look where his hand's at. Well, his hand should have been until he went horizontal.
Quinn to the free throw line. Again, 15 D1 offers, some of them including Virginia Tech, Northwestern, but he has decided to go to Loyola Chicago. That is their head coach, Justin Bozarth.
Well, it's so important when young men look at colleges that you find a place that fits, your style. You have to really like what you see there, feel comfortable around the other team members. And all those pieces are a big piece of why young men decide where they're going to go.
A 3-2 start for the Warriors of Tuscola. We've played just about 2 minutes here in today's game.
I know one thing. The Warriors have about the liveliest bench I've seen in a long time. Oh.
And a travel going to be called against DJ Moss. So one thing we do have to note, Gary 21st Century got here about 15 minutes ago, and we're not even exaggerating. They had bus troubles on their way down here to Brownsburg. They showed up about 15 minutes before tip-off.
Yeah, and so that's a lot of setting before you really have a chance to stretch and get your legs going. So we'll see if that has any effect on. Of course, these are high school guys. You know, they're used to playing 5 games in a day.
They'll play in a gravel driveway.
Wow, that seems like a lot, and it could be a difference maker. At the end of the day, these are young guys. They can play all day.
A block by Eric Price, the 6'10 senior. He is a big boy out there on the court for Gary 21st Century. Launch a 3, no good, and a rebound. It's going to go against Tuscola.
Well, one thing's for sure. The Warriors are going to have to find this young man right here in your picture. He is a big young man, and if you don't check him out, he's going to own every rebound. He gets inside position here.
Haven Hatfield with the foul, and laying it in is Eric Price.
Yeah, Price. Nice assist to Price, lays it in. Good solid game here.
4-3 start for the Cougars of Gary 21st Century, ranked number 4 in this week's 1A polls.
And I love it when you talk to coaches. They act like they know nothing about these guys. I guarantee you they know all their middle names.
Preston Brown with the jumper. Back and forth we go. Great
yes, sir.
Start. 5-4. Warriors back in front.
Well, both teams, as you mentioned, Rob, come in here undefeated.
Quentin Floyd, tough shot, no. Rebounded by Brown. Here come the Warriors pressing up the floor. They get it to Quinn, driving to the hoop, but he draws the foul.
Well, here's what he's going to create all game long. If you allow him, to have the ball and get that much momentum without stopping him, he's going to live at the free throw line. He is just flying up and down this court, and that's what he does. And you can see why a college coach loves him, because in the college world, it's all about flying up and down anyway, and so he fits that bill in high school.
First one rims in for Jalen Quinn. So this Tuscola Warrior team, again, getting to know them from the state of Illinois. I talked with Coach Bozarth before the game. I said, hey, do you normally play Indiana schools? He goes, no, I've never played an Indiana school. So they've accepted the invitation here for Sneakers for Santa. Enjoyed their nice trip over. He said they left about 7 o'clock Central Time. Made the drive over here to Brownsburg. Nice feed underneath.
Well, I think it's a great thing to challenge your kids in all different aspects. You know, have to take an hour, 2-hour bus ride. You'll never know when that comes back into play during tournament time, where you have long bus rides and then all of a sudden have to be able to play right away. So what you try to do in all different kinds of ways is challenge your young men.
Brown nearly had it stripped. They flip it over to Cunningham for 3 on the left side.
Really nice inside, outside.
10-6 Warriors.
Unlike the last game, this one is flying up and down the court.
The other thing that Coach Bozarth said, he said, we don't know much. It's going to be a travel.
Yeah, good call.
So we don't know much about Gary 21st Century. We do know they got some great players that average crazy numbers. And he goes, their athleticism and their height is going to be a challenge for us. We got to figure out how we're going to work a way around that. So far, a 10-6 start.
Yeah, you can see what their strategy is against taller, bigger kids. Run them, get them tired early.
Baseline drive, now a kick out, another 3 off the back of the rim. No good for Brown. And another rebound. Gary 21st Century, they average, this is not a joke, Jan, they average 60 rebounds per game.
Well, without seeing them other than the 5 minutes, I can understand why that I've seen them. Really tall, nice length, do a good job of checking out.
Brown, the turnaround jumper. It's a 12-6 lead for the guys from Illinois.
Well, and when you are on a long bus ride, you really want to get out to a good start. And right now, both teams, we have a timeout, but both teams are really finding room in the paint. And I think both coaches got to talk about this. You got to get some backside help.
Ashton Williamson with that lay-in. He's averaging 21 points and 9 rebounds per game. So let's talk about Gary 21st Century a little bit. They have only been an IHSAA member for 10 years. Last year they went 7-14, their first losing season since 2015. But Jan, in the 10 years that they have been a boys basketball program, 5 sectional championships and 2 regional championships. They are a powerhouse in Class 1A here in the state of Indiana.
Yeah, they were established really quick, and you know they were able to get a tradition and a lot of appeal early once they got started, and they have, every time now you hear their name, you think, well, they're pretty good, because they have been. They've been able to continually build the program in a way that they're just super competitive year after year.
They trailed 12-8. 2:25 to play here in the first quarter as that goes out of bounds.
Cougars, the one thing I'm noticing here early is how quick their hands are. Really, a lot of deflections, some stats you don't see, deflections and some small things. They are so quick.
Very scrappy, very athletic, and very tall. Inbound goes to Brown. Tuscola up 12-8 and a foul away from the ball.
Well, you can see what the Cougars are trying to do here. They've literally got somebody stuck on Quinn, and they're holding him and playing his type. They're trying to frustrate him a little bit here early, at the cost even of giving up a few fouls. They're just really, now watch how close they're playing Quinn.
All over him.
Yep.
On the inbound.
And they're going to play that hard until the officials force them back off. I would do the same thing.
That's Quinn now, guarded by DJ Moss. Tough shot, had it blocked by Moss. Quinn gets it back, and the foul.
Wow, he can create. You know, we talked about young men that could create in game one. He's another one of those types of ball players. Take a look here, shot. This is a clean block. Now watch what he does. Stays with it. Little hesitation here, and still is able to get his shot off. Those are the guys who have that ability to create.
Back to the free throw line. 2 of 4 already in this quarter. As he gets the first one.
And he's a lefty.
And it's always something special to have a player that's that special. A guy like Jalen Quinn, again, last year for the Warriors, 24 points, 8 rebounds per game. Named a first-team All-State player for the 2nd year in a row. He's rated one of the top 10 players at his position in Illinois. And again, he had 15 Division I offers before settling with Loyola Chicago. Josiah Horton charged with the foul. That's his first. So Ashton Williamson with 2 points, Quentin Floyd with 2, Eric Price with 4 for the Cougars of Gary 21st Century to start this game. 1:38 to play here in the first.
Well, I think for me, the difference maker right now in this first period of play is the quickness of Tuscola. The Warriors just super quick defensively and offensively.
They knock that out of bounds. Coach Bozarth leading the way for Tuscola, a team that went 13-5 last year, and they're returning 10 of their players from last year. Completely different from what we saw in the first game today between Brownsburg and Plainfield as they draw the charge.
Well, I'll tell you, the Warriors have come in here and they want to make a statement in the state of Indiana. Don't tell me there's not a little bit of that too. Hey, listen, guys, you're just not representing your school. You're the only Illinois school here. Let's make a statement in the state of Indiana. I'm thinking if I'm in an Indiana team here, I'm taking this a little personal.
How big would that be, too? Tuscola is a 1A school, one of the tiniest schools in Illinois. Jalen Quinn gets it to go again.
Absolutely the real deal. you're going to have to get some help on him because he has such great body control around the rim.
Cross went baseline and stepped out of bounds. Another turnover for Gary 21st Century. Tuscola off to a good start here.
Sir.
16-8 with a minute to go.
Well,
there you go.
there's
How
Mr.
about that?
Butler, head coach.
Val Jordan in attendance here today. Under a minute to play here in the first quarter. Musgrave. Now they'll walk it back out. Josiah Horton.
Cougars need to get a stop here. They're slowly but surely allowing the Warriors to really gain more and more momentum each offensive possession.
Three-pointer, no. And blocked from behind on the putback. It will stay with Tuscola. Another block there for Eric Price, the 6'10 senior.
Shot comes out of nowhere. He's pretty fortunate he get a foul on that one. Well, I think it was pretty clean. The angles sometimes make it look one way, in reality is another.
Inbound went to Hatfield, and he laid it in. It's a 10-point lead for Tuscola. And we'll get a foul here with 15 seconds to play.
Well, this has really become incredibly physical, and rightfully so, with the type of size on really both ball clubs. When I talk about size for the Warriors, there is more creative physical versus the Cougars are just a big team.
First free throw for Patton is good.
Warriors play incredibly intense and hard.
They're 2-0 coming into today. Their first two games of the year, they beat, obviously, teams from Illinois. They beat Paxton 62-36. And then earlier this week on Tuesday, they beat Villa Grove 83-22. So this Tuscola team, they can put up points for sure.
Now,
and a turnover, and the buzzer will sound. That'll end the first quarter. And it's Tuscola leading Gary 21st Century 18-9. We'll be back on the ISC Sports Network.
This is your IHSAA. This is your state. This is your high school. This is your athletic association.
Fans, I'm IHSA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and we're here to make sure that all of this remains yours.
This is your state. This is your community. This is your IHSAA.
Of the literally thousands, check that, hundreds, check that. Okay, some sports card shows that are out there in the world. The Andy and Bruno show is the one you should watch, because we have Andy, who's been there and done that, everything in the hobby, and is now a mogul.
Mogul.
Yes.
And we have a guy, Bruno, he talks too much. I can't help it.
Watch the Andy and Bruno show and hear me talk too much.
Yes, and hear me smile.
How big is this event, the Sneakers for Santa, all day? Well, not only do we have some great teams, we also have some great individuals, and that would be why you have some college coaches in attendance checking out some of these high school players. LaVal Jordan, head coach of the Butler Bulldogs.
well, you think about it, they can come here and see, this many games without doing a lot of traveling. That's a huge recruiting advantage, especially if you're not playing today.
Second quarter underway here. Tuscola leading Gary 21st Century 18-9. Three-pointer is short, no good for Sims, who has checked in to start the second quarter for the Cougars. Quinn, who had 8 points in the first 8 minutes. He controls it.
Still man-to-man by Gary 21st Century. Both teams really in-your-face type pressure.
Cross forces the turnover. He'll pull up for three. Off the front of the rim, no good, and Quinn with another rebound.
You make a mistake in this game, the ball's stolen. That's how quick the hands are.
Both teams very quick. Quinn for three.
In and out.
And how about the rebound for Lametrius Williams?
Cougars have won a while, and they've just not been able to get a lot of flow in their offense.
Another turnover there. They'll put it in the hands of Jalen Quinn, and a foul going to be called against Lamonte Cross.
Well, now we've seen him for a quarter. I know this. I would not want to be the guy that's assigned to guard him because his first step is incredible. I mean, he is so quick with the ball. His hands are quick. His feet's quick. That's not the guy you want to guard all game. Now, you take it as a challenge, but wow, you got to match that quickness or it can be a tough day. And you got to talk. Here's the thing for Gary 21st Century. When you got a guy of this caliber you're playing against, communication can help slow him down. Because you can't always have the same athleticism as he's got, but what you can do is get a lot of help defense.
Quinn will try a three. That's off the mark. Cougars will go. Quentin Floyd.
Boy, they've been a while without a score.
They'll feed it underneath,
Yep.
and it's Eric Price. He's got 6.
Yep, the big guy in the right position at the right time. Nice pass.
18-11. Brown feeds it inside. Quinn.
Nice
Had
block.
it blocked.
Nice block.
The rejection by Quentin Floyd. Lametrius Williams lays it in,
yeah.
and that will force Tuscola to take a timeout.
Warriors need a timeout there. That's as good as about 3 possessions in a row as the Cougars have had all game.
And again, maybe it's just a slow start for Gary 21st Century.
It's really interesting now while we're only in game 2, the different styles of basketball. While it's such a simple game at its context, we're seeing complete different basketball in this game than we've seen in game 1. Different styles. This game has a star in it, and so that adds a unique dimension to it. How do you stop him? Or do you just try to control him? Stars are hard to stop, but what you try to do is just kind of control them a little bit.
Plainfield and Brownsburg was our first game this morning, and what a game that was. Low scoring, aggressive defense by both teams. You mentioned the different playing styles. Both teams held the ball. It was a 44-43 win for Brownsburg on their home floor to open up today's Steakers for seeing a shootout. So far here between these two schools, a lot different. With the athleticism, the quicker pace up and down the floor. It's a 5-point lead for Tuscola. Quinn.
Quinn may have scooted his foot there a little bit, got away with it.
5.5 to play here in the second quarter. Both teams in Class 1A in their respective states.
There's that height again.
Another block in transition. Cross lost the handle of it, and right back to Tuscola.
Yeah, anything out of control, and the ball's going to go the other way.
Cunningham for 3. A little too strong. Rebounded by the Warriors, and another opportunity. Quinn will try the triple.
I think that was
Short
blocked.
again.
Well, I think that's partially tipped. He got a hand on it, I'm almost positive.
Can the Cougars respond? That one's off the mark, no good for Sims. Here comes Quinn up the floor, 1-on-2, he'll lay it in.
And did you see how he recovered? That ball was tipped while he was dribbling and still had the wherewithal to just get everything back under control milliseconds before he ran out of real estate.
He's got half the points for the Warriors, 10 of the 20. It's a 7-point lead for Tuscola. Williams jumper short, gets his own rebound, ball loose, gets it back and puts it in. Lametrius Williams, the freshman, with 4 points here in the quarter.
Well, the quick start by the Warriors is still now the difference in this ball game. They've struggled a little bit the last couple possessions.
Three-pointer good from the right side.
Until the three-pointer was just stroked.
Cunningham has 2 triples here today. And a foul.
Listen,
that will send Price to the line.
I'm going into Price until somebody tells me I can't. Everything good happens when you get it to Price down on the blocks. There's just not much defensively. If you allow that ball to go there, what are your options defensively? He's that tall, that big. He turns around. Good chance he's going to score, and you're going to foul him. So you got to find ways to deny the ball inside. You do it by causing passing lane difficult, or I think in a situation like this, while he's pretty tall, I'll take my chances of pass over the top of the defense versus straight into him, because there's nothing going to happen good if you play behind a guy of that size.
Missed the first one. Gets the second one to bounce in. Eric Price, the senior, leading the way for the Cougars, now with 7 points here in the first half. 23-16.
Ooh, a lot of contact now. Officials are really letting them play.
It feels like the Cougars are playing a little more aggressive defense. Is another block, but into the hands of Quinn, and he draws the contact.
Did you see how he switched hands? He used his exterior hand to kind of create some space and then used his left hand, which there was no way he was going to come clear across his body and block. Watch how he switches his hand there. Right here, not that one, this one. Tried to use that right hand to finish, but he tried to get at least some space with his right hand to complete it. He's a left-handed player.
Back to the free throw line as he gets the first one. And we've talked about Jalen Quinn, rather, as expected. One of the star players on this team for Tuscola. But Coach Bozarth said, hey, we got a couple other, Cunningham, Hatfield,
right.
Brown. All those guys can score 10-plus on any given night as well.
Well, we talked about this might be a quicker game. While at least for now, the score really is not a lot different than game one. Yeah. Just 3:25 left in this first half.
That three, well short, missed by Cast. Cougars get it back. Cast inside the paint, kick out. As Gary 21st Century trails by 9.
Oh, that's
a rejection by Quinn.
That's a great no call. That's a great call by the official.
Williamson hits the triple.
I love that no call. That while the bodies kind of met, there was no advantage. It was hand on the ball. I love the no call.
Foul called against Roy Cast in the backcourt.
Got bonus.
8th foul against Gary 21st Century. As you look at Coach Larry Upshaw in his second year with the Cougars. Again, last year they went 7-14. The first losing season that Gary 21st Century has had since 2015. Goes to show, like we've already mentioned, this is a really good 1A boys basketball program. Ranked number 4 this week in the 1A polls as Quinn knocks down more free throws.
He just keeps them steady, doesn't he?
Three-pointer good. That's DJ Moss from the left side.
Boy, Moss really elevated and stroked that one. Really nice looking shot.
Averages 14 points per game. His first bucket of the day. 27-22, Quinn. Into the corner, they'll try a three. That's off the mark, no good for Brown. Another rebound for the Cougars. They average 60 per game.
Inside.
And the hook shot good.
Offense for me goes through the big guy.
Eric Price.
Unstoppable.
He's got 9.
I have that half hook every other play. Literally an unstoppable play. You can't block that shot. Not with his length.
Cougars back within 3, under 2 to play here in the first half.
Give Gary 21st Century a lot of credit. They've just kind of hung around here and now just continue to chip away here a little bit.
Quinn had it stripped.
Yeah, of all the things Quinn has done very well, a little too much dribbling that time.
Had it stripped and then called for the foul.
Well, what he does so well is paint penetration, so guys like him are very comfortable for sure driving, but against a team of Gary 21st Century, they're as quick at a lot of positions as the Warriors are.
Price is fouled underneath. And after that turnover and foul, as Quinn was walking back, he looked over at Coach Bozarth, as you see there. He I think he was talking to himself, just saying, I got to slow down. I
Yeah.
just got to relax. He did the hand motion that was on me.
That's a great point, Rob, because players of his caliber have the ability to literally just take a game over by themselves. And what happens at times, if you miss a few, you start pressing. And then you kind of start to do things you really don't need to or have to do.
Up ahead for Brown.
Bad pass.
And it's stolen away. 3-on-1 and laying it in is Quentin Floyd. And how about the Cougars? They're back within one.
Yeah, ball game.
And now a steal. Taking it the other way, Quentin Floyd puts the Cougars back in front.
And we'll see if the Warriors are they're going to let them play through this. Interesting to see how different coaches handle these situations. A lot of times you get the quick timeouts. He's going to let them play through it.
Cunningham can't connect on the three. Fight for the loose ball. It's Cunningham. Still loose. They're going to fight for it. Jump ball will be called.
How quick are the hands of these players? Wow. You just see ball after ball either knock loose or stolen. You don't dare hesitate or you lose the ball.
Possession arrow stays with Tuscola. What a bounce back here by Gary 21st Century to retake the lead. 36 seconds to go here in the first half.
Well, the difference in period number 2 is Quinn has not had a lot of clean looks. That's a blocking foul, and Gary 21st Century coach cannot believe that call.
Coach Upshaw beside himself as they get Parsley with the foul.
Well, to the point, again, not to belabor a point here, but Quinn is pushing. And this second period, while he's been pushing, he hadn't scored near as much either. So that's to his own understanding. Listen, I got to slow down a little bit, let the game come to me, and not think that I have to just have that pressure to do every single thing, every single play.
He's got 6 points here in the quarter, but 4 of them are from the free throw line.
Right. And if I'm him, I'll live at the free throw line here. Nothing wrong with that. They all count the same. I'll have to give a lot of credit to Coach Upshaw. He's, I think, really got a little more out of his team here in the second period. Their pressure has been outstanding.
James Parsley to the free throw line. The 1-and-1 missed it. And Gary 21st Century with a 1-point lead. 25 seconds to go here in the second quarter.
And quite honestly, they've trailed throughout the first half and now all of a sudden have the lead.
That three-pointer off the mark for Malachi Moore. But a second opportunity. Floater good for Ashton Williamson.
Well, the mistake cost him a bucket late.
Jalen Quinn going to go coast to coast. He missed the layup. Shot at the buzzer. No, but wow, what a first half we got. Gary, 21st Century, battles back in the second quarter, and they will head to the locker room with a 30-27 lead. Game number 2 here at the Sneakers for Santa Shootouts, and it's another good one. Halftime here in Brownsburg. We'll be back on the ISC Sports Network.
Your life is on the go. Now your viewing habits can be on the go. With the ISC Sports Network app, your team is at your fingertips. You can download years' worth of content from the ISC Sports Network library. High school, college, special events, weekly and monthly shows, wherever you find your favorite app. And you can always find out more information at iscsportsnetwork.com.
High school sports fans, welcome back to Game Time, to pure spirits, to pure sports. Welcome back to high school sports.
Fans, I'm IHSA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and I just want to say, welcome back.
This is Game Time. This is Indiana high school sports. This is your IHSAA.
Hi, I'm Query.
And I'm Schultz.
And of course, we do the incredibly creatively and appropriately named Query and Schultz program every Monday on ISC Sports Network. Derek, it airs at what time?
7:30.
Okay, every Monday at 7:30. We're now on season number 2, and if history tells us anything, catch us now because you never know when they pull the plug on it.
How would you say that?
Because it's happened
That's not going
before.
to happen here.
Comcast, Xfinity 81, ISCSportsNetwork.com, ISC Sports Network, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, so many places to watch. Query and Schultz, 7:30 on Monday.
This is your IHSAA. This is your state. This is your high school. This is your athletic association.
Fans, I'm IHSA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and we're here to make sure that all of this remains yours.
This is your state. This is your community. This is your IHSAA.
Of the literally thousands, check that, hundreds, check that. Okay, some sports card shows that are out there in the world. The Andy and Bruno show is the one you should watch, because we have Andy, who's been there and done that, everything in the hobby, and is now a mogul.
Mogul.
Yes.
And we have a guy, Bruno, he talks too much. I can't help it.
Watch the Andy and Bruno show and hear me talk too much.
Yes, and hear me smile.
Halftime score here in Brownsburg. Gary, 21st Century, leading Tuscola 30-27. Jalen Quinn, what a start he had with that wicked shot. He has 2, 4, 6, 8, 16 points here in the first half.
And he spent a lot of energy in the last 6 points as much as he did in the earlier 10. They being Gary 21st Century, really made him work hard for his scoring. And the difference for me was the fact that Gary 21st Century shot selection, look where they got the majority of their points in that second period. Everything around the rim, they got the big guy involved, and that was the reason they were able to scratch a claw. And now here at halftime, after really trailing most of the first half, they now end up with the lead here at halftime.
Yeah, I was going to say, the points in transition off those turnovers really helped them. They were down by 9 at one point. They come back, and they now have a 3-point lead at the break. And looking at the official scoring, now that I can do math, Eric Price leading Gary 21st Century with 9 points. Ashton Williamson with 7. Quentin Floyd with 6. Lametrius Williams, the freshman, with 4. For the Cougars. For Tuscola, it's 14 points for Jalen Quinn. Easton Cunningham with 6 from beyond the arc. Preston Brown 4. Haven Hatfield with 2. But, Jan, what more could you ask for? A great start, back and forth, lots of great shots, great defense. Well, these two teams are evenly matched.
Williams and Price were the difference maker for Gary 21st Century. They're around the rim, both defensively and offensively. And when you get shot selection like Gary 21st Century had, where if you were to chart the shot selection, it was all around the basket, all second period. And obviously you get that close, your percentage goes up, and that's exactly, and then it was complemented by the three-pointer. But listen, that three-pointer becomes available because of the dominance underneath the bucket and the paint. And so when you dominate in there, that opens up the outside. Basketball is really an easy sport. It's only made complicated.
Price is getting it done underneath for Gary 21st Century, and then you saw there a couple of threes. DJ Moss knocking one down.
This is
Ashton
big.
Williamson down for one as well.
That was a mistake right there, and Gary 21st Century really capitalized on it. That with that last shot, that shouldn't have happened. That was an error, and credit to Gary 21st Century with that last bucket to go up 3, because that was a bad pass that should have never taken place. So still, anybody's ball game, really good, fought hard, very physical. And the other thing I thought Gary 21st Century did an excellent job in the second period was made it really difficult for Quinn to get an open look. Yeah. He was just really having to create anything and everything he could, because they literally were double teaming him, switching him, making his outside shot, at least for the second period, really difficult.
14 points, but 8 of them had to come from the free throw line. He only has 3 field goals made in the first half.
And here's what a good scorer thinks. While he likes the free throw line, he'd prefer scorers want to score. So, but discipline comes in and goes, listen, they've kind of taken away the double team. I'm comfortable getting the free throw line. You can live there and get just as many points, but a good competitive athlete hates that. They don't want to live at the free throw line. But that might be the difference maker if they take everything else away. Listen, free throw shooting could be the difference for your ball club.
He was 8 of 10 from the charity stripe in that first half. Jalen Quinn leading the way for Tuscola like he has been for the last couple of years in Illinois. Again, a commit to Loyola Chicago. He received 15 D1 offers and has decided to be a Rambler once he graduates from Tuscola High School. And we also saw in the crowd the fans from Tuscola. Nice short drive. Well, when I say short, it's a convenient drive from Tuscola, Illinois.
Honestly, it's less than 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's about an hour 45 minutes.
Hop on I-57, drive up to Bloomington, Illinois, and then cut over on 74 right in here to Brownsburg, Indiana. So it's good to see people traveling from Illinois. And what a lineup we have, Jan. We had Brownsburg and Plainfield to open up the day earlier this morning. Brownsburg winning 44-43. This is a one-possession game at halftime. Coming up, our next game will be Hammond Central, a team that went deep in the tournament last year against Fort Wayne Northside. And then how about later on today, Christmas Addicts taking on Linton Stockton, two fantastic boys basketball programs. Top 5 teams in Class 4A, Carmel and Homestead will go at it around 5 o'clock. Lawrence North and Heritage Christian later on tonight. And then we wrap up the night with 4A number 1 Cathedral taking on Brush High School from Ohio.
And I know one thing you're curious about. How far is it from Brownsburg to Gary 21st Century? I now have that.
Oh, you looked it up?
I did look it up. When I don't know, Google always assists me. 196 miles for Gary 21st Century to Brownsburg.
So it's actually a longer drive
double
for Gary
than
it was for Tuscola from Illinois.
Tuscola is only 107 miles. It's just shy of 200 miles to Gary 21st Century.
Well, we're glad they're here down in Brownsburg, and it is Gary 21st Century leading at 30-27 at the break. Third quarter coming up next here on the ISC Sports Network.
Your life is on the go. Now your viewing habits can be on the go. With the ISC Sports Network app, your team is at your fingertips. You can download years' worth of content from the ISC Sports Network library. High school, college, special events, weekly and monthly shows, wherever you find your favorite app. And you can always find out more information at iscsportsnetwork.com.
High school sports fans, welcome back to Game Time, to pure spirits, to pure sports. Welcome back to high school sports.
Fans, I'm IHSA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and I just want to say, welcome back.
This is Game Time. This is Indiana high school sports. This is your IHSAA.
Hi, I'm Query.
And I'm Schultz.
And of course, we do the incredibly creatively and appropriately named Query and Schultz program every Monday on ISC Sports Network. Derek, it airs at what time?
7:30.
Okay, every Monday at 7:30. We're now on season number 2, and if history tells us anything, catch us now because you never know when they pull the plug on it.
Why would you say that?
Because it's happened
That's not going
before.
to happen here. Comcast, Xfinity 81, ISCSportsNetwork.com, ISC Sports Network, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, so many places to watch Query and Schultz, 7:30 on Monday.
This is your IHSAA. This is your state. This is your high school. This is your athletic association.
Fans, I'm IHSA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and we're here to make sure that all of this remains yours.
This is your state. This is your community. This is your IHSAA.
2021 Sneakers for Santa Shootout brought to you by Allstate Insurance and agent Ryan Owens. Get a quote from the Ryan Owens Agency of Allstate on the south side of Indy, and you'll be entered into a monthly drawing for a college hoops experience with Ryan and Greg Rakestraw going to some of the top college games across the state. Call them at 317-802-1550. Third quarter underway here at Brownsburg High School as Gary 21st Century leading Tuscola 30-27. Rob Conant, Jan Bozier, and the rest of the ISC crew with you here.
I think it'll be interesting here, Rob. This is a game where small corrections at halftime could make a big, big difference. Let's see if we can see what corrections may have been made at halftime, both offensively and defensively.
Coach Bozarth and Tuscola.
Well, I'm seeing the first one. Look how they're playing the big guy.
Quinn steps to the hoop but missed the layup. Up ahead in transition, and it's Gary 21st Century scoring again, DJ Moss.
Yeah, I just continue to push that, get it to the talls, the big guys underneath, and get as many of those until they can stop that.
The Cougars trailed 18-9 after the first quarter. They outscored Tuscola 21-9 in the second quarter, and they're off to a 4-0 start here in the third.
Yeah, got to have a timeout here. Way too big of a run for Gary 21st Century.
7-point lead, and Tuscola is going to burn a timeout here to start the third.
I love the energy. I think they picked it up a notch when they came out of halftime. Gary 21st Century really pushed the ball, and I think that's what they're going to do here to start this early, is to just really pressure a little more on both sides.
One of the reasons why the Cougars are averaging 76 points per game, a lot of those points, Jan, in transition, force the turnover, and they quickly move it up the court. We've already seen it here.
If you can get the big guys running the floor, you don't stop 6'10" underneath the bucket. And their big guys continue to run the floor. That's a key for me. It's not just the guards running the floor. The big guys are running as well. This young man right here has got to get his team going.
Jalen Quinn had 14 points in the first half to lead the Warriors. But again, 8 of those 14 came from the free throw line. He floats it up and gets it to go.
Yeah, that's a really difficult shot to control. Cuts it to 5. That's a big bucket. Warriors needed that one bad.
Again, Quinn averaging about 20 points per game. And he's got 16 already for Tuscola.
And I think the longer they can force Gary 21st Century to be in a half-court set, the better it can be. Not unless you rebound, though.
Moss for 3.
Well, I'll tell you, and when they're hitting inside and outside, that's a pretty difficult offensive stop.
He's got 8. And it's an 8-point lead for Gary 21st Century. Quinn lost the handle of it, out of bounds.
Now he's starting to press a little bit again. While I certainly understand their offense goes through him, he just brings a crowd every time he catches the ball. That makes it tough.
Gary 21st Century 2-0 on the season. Played last night, beating Bowman Academy 76-51. That 3 is short, missed by DJ Moss.
Yeah, and I just don't think that's the shot they wanted with an 8-point lead. I mean, you could go from 8-point lead now, clear down to 5, or you could have extended to double figures. That's how big that shot was.
They work it around. Brown for 3.
And
Got it.
To my point, see the difference in the score? It went what could have been a double-digit lead to back down to 5. That's why that shot was a little quick.
Preston Brown now with 7. They get it inside to Floyd. Tough shot, and he draws the foul. Quentin Floyd, a 6'4 junior, second in the state, averaging 15 rebounds per game to go along with his 17 points.
Well, good rebounders have that knack for always being around the rim and the ball. They just have that second sense of anticipation, always, and it doesn't hurt to have some decent athleticism in there in that recipe. But
got the first one. Second one missed. 38-32. Cougars in front. Quinn being guarded by Garrick Patton.
And you got to think Quinn's probably pretty used to every game just being absolutely guarded every which way but Sunday. That's probably a formula he's kind of used to, I'm guessing. You got that much talent, because you let him get going, he could spring 30 on you in a nanosecond.
And a steal by DJ Moss.
Oh, wow.
Turns it into a bucket and one.
That's talent right there. Got a quick first step, kind of just held in the air, and then laid it off the glass. Very pretty.
Again, the Cougars do it so well. They force the turnover, and you blink, and they're on the other end scoring.
That's a good point, Rob. Really the difference in this ballgame has been their defensive pressure. And quite honestly, in game one, the winner Brownsburg defensive pressure was the difference in that ballgame.
It's now up to a 9-point lead for Gary 21st Century. Hatfield drives in and connects.
Yeah, better patience that time. Better patience.
Hatfield now has 4. And an offensive foul.
I think Quinn may have taken the charge there, did he not? Or was that away from Quinn? Quinn hit the deck.
And the foul went against Williamson. Quinn gets around one defender, splits 2 more. Oh, and he missed the layup.
Oh, you can't believe it. He did everything but finish. Just had a little too much mustard on it. That was a pretty move. Didn't finish, though. Moves don't count in the scorebook.
Moss will try the 3. Good!
Oh, man. Moss is kind of that guy who's, when his name is mentioned, it's usually something really successful. Wow, he's a difference maker.
11 points in the quarter, and it's a 10-point lead for the Cougars, and it forces a timeout by Tuscola. Hey, we want to thank one of our sponsors for our coverage of the Sneakers for Santa Shootout, The Cinderella Strategy. It's a book by Graham Honecker and Jerry Logan. They give the inside scoop behind Butler University's rise to prominence over the past decade. Indiana's rich basketball history and Butler's Hinkle Fieldhouse are central characters in the story, which focuses on how the university leveraged back-to-back Final Four runs in 2010 and 2011. The Cinderella Strategy, great gift idea. Christmas is coming up, Jan, just saying. Great gift idea for any hoops fan in your life. You can order your copy by going to thecinderellastrategy.com. And we mentioned Butler, head coach Laval Jordan in attendance for this game today. Got some college coaches.
And I think we can also say, Rob, the Gary 21st Century, they have a lot of depth. I mean, they sub, and it doesn't miss a lot when they do.
Quinn got bumped. No foul, missed the shot. Here come the Cougars once more.
Well, he's had a couple close looks the last 2 possessions and have not been able to finish. Got to do that. 10-point ballgame right now. If I'm Gary 21st Century, I'm in absolutely no hurry. I find the bigs down low and just pound it, pound it, pound it.
Outscoring Tuscola 14-7 here in the quarter. Price will try a 3. A little too strong. Offensive rebound. Another opportunity, and a foul going to be called. It will send Garrick Patton to the line.
Well, when you're a good offensive rebounding ball club, you can make up for bad shots. I don't think that was a great shot at all. But when you can offensive rebound like they do, you know, sometimes a bad shot turns into a really good rebound.
Hatfield with the foul, his second.
It just different player after different player now for Gary 21st Century making a play.
Patton gets the first one. He was 1 for 2 in the first half.
Big guy's going to sit down for a few minutes here to get ready for the stretch.
Patton gets them both, and it's now a 12-point lead for the Cougars.
And this is what the luxury of having a 12-point lead can do. You can set some of your starters now, get them a little extra energy as you close down the 4th period. Let's see how the depth does against Jalen Quinn.
He's got it. And a foul on the floor going to be called against Lamonte Cross.
I just felt like he needed to find the free throw line a little more, and quite honestly, he's not been able to find the free throw line as much as I thought really he needed to.
We mentioned Laval Jordan in attendance, along with Ryan Owens, who was put on this event here at Brownsburg.
That's awesome.
That was blocked by Lametrius Williams.
Personally want to thank him because this is a great event.
Oh, a nice move. DJ Moss completes
Well, Moss has
the great play.
Moss has now become the highlight reel here in the third period.
Quinn trying to respond with
Yeah.
a nice nifty move, but he couldn't finish.
He's pushing, Rob. Everything going Gary 21st Century. The size is now taking its toll, quite honestly. Let's see what the argument's about. Definitely have one.
Foul went against Hatfield. They do count the bucket. Coach Bozarth talking to the referee saying
I don't think
he wants it to be a charge.
Yeah, I don't think it's a conversation. I think this is a lecture. He was not happy about not getting the charge call.
50-34. It's been all Gary 21st Century in this third quarter as a foul going to be called against the Cougars. Moss.
Well, as this game has progressed, there is just no question the overall physicality and the length of Gary 21st Century slowly but surely has just kind of chipped away and made the difference here in this ball game. Really good half-court defense, too, in this second half.
Quinn over two defenders. No. Put back. No. Fight for the rebound, and now jump ball.
Look out. Somebody hits the deck pretty good.
I think it's Jalen Quinn.
And the other thing that has not happened, if you allow me to use that, is there's not been a lot of second chance opportunities for the Warriors. They've gotten one shot and one shot only.
Saw a replay there. Quinn was just going for the loose ball. Jump ball belongs to the Warriors as they trail by 16.
It's going to take a special team to match the physicality of Gary 21st Century. They are big, they are strong, and they are fast, and they are physical.
And a good shot there. That was Josiah Horton who has checked in with the layup. 50-36, under 2 minutes to play here in the third. And despite the deficit, Tuscola is in. Jan, their bench still with a lot of energy, cheering on their guys on the floor. But wow, Eric Price with the and one.
You know, and the big guy is smooth when he gets the ball. You know, there are sometimes 7-footers, if you will, and there are other guys who are very, very smooth with their hands. He's one of those guys. He gets the ball down low. He knows what to do with it.
That foul went against Haven Hatfield. That is his fourth foul. So he is in some trouble with still a full quarter to go.
Look at the pressure. Gary 21st Century is double teaming the guard. And this time, someone is finally left open and timeout called.
Colton Musgrave with the three. Timeout called by Tuscola. Will take it with him. 1:22 to play here in the third. It's a 52-39 lead for Gary 21st Century. Back in a moment on the ISC Sports Network.
Of the literally thousands, check that, hundreds, check that. Okay, some sports card shows that are out there in the world. The Andy and Bruno show is the one you should watch, because we have Andy, who's been there and done that, everything in the hobby, and is now a mogul.
Mogul.
Yes.
And we have a guy, Bruno, he talks too much. I can't help it.
Watch the Andy and Bruno show and hear me talk too much.
Yes, and hear me smile.
Your life is on the go. Now your viewing habits can be on the go. With the ISC Sports Network app, your team is at your fingertips. You can download years' worth of content from the ISC Sports Network library. High school, college, special events, weekly and monthly shows, wherever you find your favorite app. And you can always find out more information at iscsportsnetwork.com.
Welcome back to Brownsburg High School. Rob Connett, Jan Bozier, and the rest of the ISC crew with you here. The Sneakers for Santa event put on by Ryan Owens. There he is with Butler head coach Laval Jordan. And the coolest thing about this event, Jan, we talked about in the first game this morning, it's not just great teams from the Midwest and 3, 4, 5-star athletes that we're seeing throughout the day today, but a bigger cause. All these teams, all these schools, players, coaches, and their communities have been donating sneakers to kids in need in their community for this holiday season. So it's a great event, but all for a better cause. And at the same time, we're getting a lot of great play, like that one, Lamonte Cross.
I'll tell you, that was a whole lot of dribbling and a whole lot of time off the clock for a layup.
Dribbling violation. Turnover for Tuscola as they trail by 15 here in the third. It was a 3-point game at halftime, but the Cougars have taken control here in the third. Mostly done by DJ Moss.
Look
He's got 13 points here in the quarter, as we'll have a foul underneath.
Gary 21st Century will be at Valparaiso December the 14th. And of course, Valpo has a rich tradition of basketball. They're 1-0 early. That'll be an interesting game. That's a 4A against a 1A.
Yeah. Got a couple of bigger schools coming up in our next matchup, Hammond Central and Fort Wayne North.
Valpo seems like they always have a shooter. You think of Valpo, you think three-point shooting.
So that'll be a good matchup for Gary 21st Century coming up in 10 days from now.
A lot of basketball for a lot of these ball clubs in a very short period of time. And
wow. Foul win against Haven Hatfield.
That's 5.
He is fouled out of this game.
Wow.
So the 6'3" senior for Tuscola fouls out with just 4 points.
I know we've probably said it a couple times, but I really think the bench of Gary 21st Century has been really good today as well.
High off the glass, it rims in and out for Horton. Shot at the buzzer, no, that will end the third quarter. And Gary 21st Century dominates the third period. They now lead 56-39 as we get ready for the fourth. We'll be back on the ISC Sports Network.
High school sports fans, welcome back to Game Time, to pure spirits, to pure sports. Welcome back to high school sports.
Fans, I'm IHSA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and I just want to say, welcome back.
This is Game Time. This is Indiana high school sports. This is your IHSAA.
Hi, I'm Query.
And I'm Schultz.
And of course, we do the incredibly creatively and appropriately named Query and Schultz program every Monday on ISC Sports Network. Derek, it airs at what time?
7:30.
Okay, every Monday at 7:30. We're now on season number 2, and if history tells us anything, catch us now because you never know when they pull the plug on it.
Why would you say that?
Because it's happened
That's not going to happen here. Comcast, Xfinity 81, ISCSportsNetwork.com, ISC Sports Network, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, so many places to watch Query and Schultz, 7:30 on Monday.
Rob Conant, Jan Bozier, and the rest of the ISC crew back with you here in Brownsburg. Our second game of the Sneakers for Santa Shootout. Game 2 of 7 on the day. And it's all Gary 21st Century as they dominated that third quarter. And they now lead Tuscola 56-39. I'll make one correction as we start this fourth quarter. It was Lamonte Cross fouling out for Gary 21st Century right before the end of that third quarter.
Correct. Tuscola, let's see if they've got a run left in them, Rob. They've really been taken out of this game with Gary 21st Century's defense. Let's see if they can find the legs to put any type of run together here because now they're down by a bunch.
Jalen Quinn had the turnover there, so it's right back into the hands of the Cougars. They try to feed it inside to Price, and he is fouled on the floor. That'll put them in the bonus.
Well, this gentleman right here at the free throw line, he has the ability to control a game offensively and defensively. When he posts up, it's like an unstoppable commodity in your offense. And then on the defensive side, he takes a lot of space in the paint. He's a rim protector. He can do so many things to change a look at a game.
And a foul on the floor.
And everything, quite honestly, that Quinn has taken here, Rob, has been contested. He rarely gets anything that's just not really contested.
He had 14 points in that first half, had just 2 in the third. He'll go to the free throw line here.
And that's a problem because their offense, he has to have involvement in their offensive sets, or they don't have the depth in the shooting aspect of their offense without him being seriously involved.
The Loyola Chicago commit knocks down both free throws, now has 18 points on the day. But his Tuscola Warriors still trail 56-41. Cougars in control. And a travel going to be called. The Warriors force.
Yeah. Last couple,
I don't.
And you're there, you see their coach right there. He's not really happy. The last couple possessions offensively, they kind of force things a little bit. And you do not want to give your opponent, when you have this type of lead, you do not want to give them any spark at all.
Quinn will try a 3, top of the key, and it rims in.
So all of a sudden, it's down to 12. Let's see what we got here. Last 2 possessions for the Cougars have not been good.
Gary 21st Century can score a bunch of points in a matter of moments.
3 possessions
turnover.
now.
Quinn gonna go coast to coast. He'll lay it in, and it's a 10-point game.
Do we have a run? Down to 10.
Quick response by the Cougars.
Finally got really the first time in 5 possessions where they got a clean look at it.
58-46. Horton, kick out. Brown for a 3. That's short. Rebounded by Cast for the Cougars. He'll float it off the glass and good.
All of a sudden now, Gary 21st Century has put it in passing gear. Now they're flying up and down and getting in the lanes for layups.
Quinn stuck in the backcourt. Gets it up ahead. Musgrave gives it up to Brown, and he gets the jumper. So all of a sudden, both teams have
but you can't
found
trade
an offensive rhythm.
If you're Tuscola, you can't trade buckets. Got to get some stops.
Cast, turnaround, no. Price, yes.
The big guy.
62-48. Price now with 13 to lead the way for the Cougars. And how about that? You have 3 guys averaging double-doubles coming into today for Gary 21st Century. Price was not one of them, and yet he's leading them in scoring.
He's such a figure on the court. And he plays well for a big guy. I've seen a lot of big guys that take up space. This guy does that, plus he's athletic, got good hands, knows what to do, and does it.
They don't have a football team at Gary 21st Century, but if they did, I have a feeling Price might be playing. Nice inbound and a quick response. Haven Hatfield with the layup. 62-50. 5 minutes to play here in the fourth. Both teams undefeated on the season. Gary 21st Century got a win last night against Bowman Academy, 76-51. Here's a 3, swish for DJ Moss.
Moss has been fantastic here in the about the time you think other guys have kind of taken over, and he just all of a sudden lights it up.
Quinn with the step back, yes. He's got 9 here in the quarter. 25 on the night. But his Warriors still trail by 13.
Well, I thought Gary 21st Century was going to take the air out of the ball last possession. Then they kind of did, then stroked to 3.
Williamson is fouled by Quinn. That's the second on Quinn. Tuscola with 8. Both teams in the bonus. Ashton Williamson will go to the free throw line for the first time today.
I think the recipe, if you're going to have any shot of really defeating Gary 21st Century, got to get the free throw line. If you don't, they defensively and offensively are very difficult to compete against. I think one of the recipes, if you have a shot, is you got to figure a way to get to the free throw line.
Williamson now with 9. Quinn double team in the backcourt, needs some help. And Coach Bozarth from the sidelines calls a timeout to bail out his player.
Saved a possession.
67-52, Gary 21st Century looking to move to 3-0 on the season. Again, this Sneakers for Santa event put on by Allstate Insurance and agent Ryan Owens. If you get a quote from him on the south side of Indy, you will be entered into a monthly drawing for a college hoops experience with Ryan Owens and Greg Regstraw, going to some of the top college games across the state. All you got to do is search for The Owens Agency on Facebook or give them a call at 317-802-1550 to find out how you can win by getting great rates on all of your insurance. Again, a great event put on by Ryan Owens, Allstate Insurance, and Brownsburg High School. Coming up later after this one, Game 3 of today, Hammond Central, one of the top teams in Class 3A, going up against Fort Wayne Northside. Later on in the afternoon, 4A number 9, Crispus Attucks taking on 2A number 2, Linton Stockton. Around 5 o'clock, a couple of top 5 teams in Class 4A go head-to-head, Carmel and Homestead. And then tonight, Lawrence North and Heritage Christian. And then the nightcap, 4A number 1, Cathedral, taking on one of the top teams from Ohio, Brush High School. That'll be after 8 o'clock tonight. And all the games here on ISC Sports Network. This is Game 2. Under 4 minutes to play. It's a 15-point lead for Gary 21st Century. Quinn gets into the corner. Now the wing. 3-point, no good. And rebounded by DJ Moss. Quickly up the floor he goes. He'll drive all the way to the hoop and lays it in.
He makes it look easy, doesn't he? He just flat out can fly in the air.
21 points for DJ Moss.
Look at the pressure by Gary 21st Century. Here we are with just about 3 minutes left in this game, and they're still pressuring the ball. Wow. Good 2 points there by Tuscola.
Jalen Quinn now with 27 on the day for the Warriors. Floater for Ashton Williamson. He's got 11. Quinn with a quick response. Up and down, back and forth.
Yeah, but the problem is they're trading baskets. Tuscola can't break into this lead because they're just trading baskets.
Floyd knocks down the 3. 4 different Cougars in double figures here today. They averaged 76. They got 74 right now. And a turnover by Tuscola. And that's what Coach Bozarth coming into today. He said, hey, we don't know that much about Gary 21st Century, but we do know that they are fast, they're aggressive, and their size will probably overwhelm us. That was his quote. Put back with one hand by Roy Cast. It's a 20-point advantage for the Cougars, under 2 minutes to play.
Gary, 21st Century rated number 4 in 1A. You could seriously see them being a contender, can you not?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're top 4 right now. They just have everything you need to really take it far. So difficult. How do you match up? I mean, so many people do so many different things. They're such a difficult team to match up against.
Cougars have put up 78. A minute 20 to play. That one's short. Another rebound. Moss draws the contact.
Of course, we talked about Linton Stockton. How about Bar Reeve, rated number 1 against this year? I don't think, does Bar Reeve know any other than being number 1? I think it's Bar Reeve that has the new gym. I was thinking Linton Stockton. I believe Bar Reeves has. That's who I was thinking of. They seem like they're number 1 and number 2 every year too.
Yeah,
they just reload.
Got some great boys basketball programs here in the state of Indiana. Both teams going to empty their benches with a minute 14 to play.
There you see the guy right there. Everybody thank him for help putting this thing on. What a great event. What is this? Is this year 2 or 3? 2?
Year number 2.
Yeah, was fortunate enough to be a part of it last year, and hopefully it just continues on.
DJ Moss made the first free throw, and it looked like everyone forgot that means he earned the second one. They were ready to go back down the other side of the court. He was the only one standing there saying, wait, don't I get a second one?
One of the great facilities in high school basketball. Brownsburg. Brownsburg loves their athletics. You spend a lot of time here, don't you? They love their athletics. Great year in football.
Yeah, they had a great volleyball season as well. Their girls basketball program doing pretty good this year too. A minute to play here in the fourth, and it's an 80-59 lead for Gary 21st Century. It was a 3-point game at halftime, but the Cougars took control.
Well, perhaps,
in the third.
Rob, perhaps some of that could be contributed to the fact they didn't get a ton of time to warm up because they ran late. Maybe, maybe not. Let's give some credit to that to Tuscola. But, boy, just as the comfort level started to slowly kick in, and it did for Gary 21st Century, they are so physical defensively. So many options, inside, outside. Just it makes you play on the other side as perfect a game as you possibly have to play to compete with them, because there's just not a lot of margin of error in their game.
Gary 21st Century is going to move to 3-0 on the season. Like you mentioned earlier, Jan, their next game 10 days from now, they'll be at Valparaiso, a 4A school.
North Davies is number 2, Lagodi 3, Gary 21st Century 4th, Edinburgh 5, Indianapolis Tinley 6. They're your top 6 or 7 teams in 1A.
And it should be another good year for Gary 21st Century. For Tuscola, they will drop to 2-1. They will play ALAH in Illinois. If you're wondering who that stands for, there is a school called Arthur Lovington Atwood Hammond. That's who they play next.
Well, there's a lot of farm communities in rural Illinois, and a lot of them co-op together to play basketball. 2 or 3 schools will go in rural areas where there's a lot of farming communities.
That's who Tuscola will play coming up on Tuesday. Here today in their trip to the Hoosier State, they fall to Gary 21st Century 80-59, your final score. And again, Jan, it was a 3-point game at the break, but the Cougars really turned it on in the third quarter, dominated, and pulled away late.
Well, what Gary 21st Century does so well, we've seen it all game long, is they just wear you down. They're so physical. They just beat on you. They're physical. They run the court. Just attack mode. Their half-court defense was really good. Inside, outside, they go to the big guy when they need points. And then other players like Moss just compliments everybody else. They just clearly have the ingredients of a team who've everybody can stay healthy, has a real shot at the end to do something special.
Leading the way for Tuscola, as expected, the senior Jalen Quinn has already committed to play collegiately at Loyola Chicago. He finishes with 29 points for the Warriors. For Gary 21st Century, 4 players in double figures, led by DJ Moss. The junior finishes with 23. Yeah. Quentin Floyd, 14. Ashton Williamson, 13. Eric Price, also with 13 points for the Cougars.
Price was just solid. He does so many things you're not going to see in the scorebook. Deflects, makes it difficult. Those aren't stats you see in the scorebook, but they clearly are game-changing type things that he does.
80-59, your final score. Gary 21st Century now 3-0 on the season. Again, their next game coming up on December 14th at Valparaiso. Tuscola, they will make the trip back over to Illinois. 2-1 now on the year. Coming up, Game 3 of today's Sneakers for Santa event, and it is going to be a good one between Hammond Central, ranked number 10 in Class 3A, taking on Fort Wayne Northside. The Legends will be getting ready as they are about ready to take the court and warm up. After that one, later on today, John Herrick will have the call of Crispus Attucks and Lytton Stockton. And then right around 5 o'clock, a couple of top 5 teams in Class 4A, Carmel and Homestead will square off. Lawrence North and Heritage Christian will play right around 6:30 or so. And then Greg Rakestraw will have the call of our nightcap coming up around 8:15, 8:30-ish. Cathedral, the #1 team in Class 4A, will take on Brush High School, one of the top teams in the state of Ohio. So we still have 5 more games to go, and it's all right for you here on the ISC Sports Network. Final from game number 2, Gary 21st Century defeats Tuscola of Illinois 80-59. For Jan Bozier and the rest of our ISC crew, I'm Rob Connett, and we'll get ready for game 3. Hammond Central, Fort Wayne North, coming up next right here on the ISC Sports Network.
Of the literally thousands, check that, hundreds, check that. Okay, some sports card shows that are out there in the world. The Andy and Bruno show is the one you can watch, you should watch, because we have Andy, who's been there and done that, everything in the hobby, and is now a mogul.
Mogul.
Yes.
And we have a guy, Bruno, he talks too much. I can't help it.
Watch the Andy and Bruno show and hear me talk too much.
Yes, and hear me smile.
Your life is on the go. Now your viewing habits can be on the go. With the ISC Sports Network app, your team is at your fingertips. You can download years' worth of content from the ISC Sports Network library. High school, college, special events, weekly and monthly shows, wherever you find your favorite app. And you can always find out more information at iscsportsnetwork.com.